Ayan na! Kamusta kayo dyan, mga kameta, mga ating mga kababayan? Yan! Panalo na tayo! Ayan, nabulol na bigla. Panalo na tayo! This is it! We got our first World Cup victory against no less than the host nation. Di ba sa New Zealand ang World Cup ngayon? My goodness, ang sarap siguro maging Pinoy ngayon diyan sa New Zealand. As of course, masarap talaga maging Pinoy in general. May mga iba nagbibigay ng kahulugan diyan sa mga sinasabi natin. Pero katulad ng sinabi ng dating nating pangulo, no, si Pangulong Aquino, sabi na dati, 'di ba, usually used to say, ang sarap maging Pinoy sa panahon ngayon, something like that, no. At talagang 'yan po ang feel na feels natin ngayon kahit medyo ganyan-ganyan yung wiring system natin. Ang sarap talaga maging Pinoy! Nako po! Ang saya talaga, nakaka-goosebumps. Nakaka-goosebumps, nakaka-iyak, nakaka-excite, nakaka-anxious. Bakit ka mo? Because yung next natin na match guys against Norway, ayan na mga Giants, mga Vikings ang kalaban natin. But nakayanan natin ng New Zealand. Again, yun ang kagandahan guys ng football. Kahit nakaisang goal ka lang, basta magaling ka lang mag-defense, kahit higante yung kalaban mo, katulad ng kalaban natin today, you can just hold on to your advantage, hold on to your gains, and still eke it out. 1-0. I mean, that was a very difficult match. Kung tinignan nyo yung, yung statistics, it was like, I don't know, something like 70% possession doon sa New Zealand, lampas sa 14-15 shots on goal. I mean, grabe, sobrang one-sided pag tinignan mo yung possession, yung aggressiveness. Pero nanalong Pilipinas because we made the most out of this few opportunities we had at yung goal natin, napakahirap. Hindi ko mapakita dito kasi ma-copyright tayo, but please check it out dyan. Libre lang ma-check out yan dun sa sa match dito sa match highlights dyan sa FIFA plus FIFA.com. Pwede nyo ma-check for free. The goal was ang hirap kasi it's a cross into the goal area. So andun yung goalkeeper, andun yung tatlong defense, no? At grabe yung talagang wow, ang galing talaga nung shooting ng ating mga kababayan dyan. I'm so proud of their achievement. Don't worry. We're gonna dig deep into this because I know marami nagsasabi na itong Philippine team is very foreigner raised heavy or foreign talent heavy, or may mga nagsasabi pa dyan, ito yung parang the other US national team dahil sa because of the fact that dun sa starting team natin, a huge numbers proportion are Filipino or Americans of Filipino background or heritage. Don't worry, pag-usapan natin yan. But this also brings us back dun sa pinaka sinasabi ko over the past year. Para sa ating mga Pilipino, let's be honest. Let's be realistic. Let's be proud, no? Na itong mga ganitong sports, no, doon sa mega sports. Of course, hindi ko sinasabi na wag na tayo mag-billiards. No. Hindi siya mutually exclusive. But if you're talking about the big sports, no, what are the big three? No, you could say basketball, football/soccer, although only the Americans call it soccer. I call it football. Much of the world calls it football. Much of the real world that plays great football calls it football. And then number 3, you can put there cricket/volleyball/American football or something like that. No, I mean American football kaya nga tinatawag nilang soccer. So siguro in terms of revenues and viewership, siguro cricket yung number 3, no? Pero in terms of I think prestige, I would say volleyball is number 3, no? Kitang-kita din natin pag mga volleyball games, World Cup, yung mga hinost natin dito sa Pilipinas, yung level of excitement is really high. So, pag tinignan mo sa mga yan, let's be honest. Cricket, well, we're really out of, forget about it. Wala tayo dyan. Volleyball, yung women's team natin, okay, but kita natin, medyo hirap din tayo in the latest competitions din, no? At yung male team natin, I don't know. I mean, if they're really competitive because the powerhouses of Asia in volleyball are Japan and Iran, no? And then, pagdating naman sa basketball, yes, we used to be one of the best in the world. I don't know, 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, all the way into 80s. We were one of the best in Asia. Pero aminin natin mga kameta, mga kay Darian, I know this is gonna be controversial. I know marami nagalit sa akin before when I mentioned this. But let's be honest, there's just something about basketball that inherently, why should I be sorry? Because this is the fact. There's something inherently bias about basketball, and I'm talking about physiological bias. Kung titignan mo, the teams that tend to have an higher average height tend to statistically do much, much, much better. Sa aking palagay, we could have easily become the champion nung 2015, di ba? Nung 2015 na nag-host tayo ng FIBA Asia. At tignan mo, yung nakatalo sa atin na team is a country na not necessarily known for basketball, better known for football or volleyball and other sports, but because mas matangkat sila sa atin, I think that really gave them a lot of advantage, especially sa rebounds, sa center. So I'm not gonna pretend that I'm a basketball expert guy, but come on. I do sports analysis the same way that I do political analysis. I'm an aficionado of mixed martial arts. I have a black belt in Taekwondo. Mag-flex na tayo. No. My point, and I'm crazy about football. I mean, as you can see, diba? I mean, love na love ko yung football. So, para sa akin, ang dami kasi mga myths about football, which I think is problematic because it distracts us from some of the inherent disadvantages we have in basketball. No? I mean, aminin natin, sa basketball, if siguro, diba, nagkaroon ng equalization dun sa physiological, sa height, etc., I'm sure the Philippines would easily be among the best in the world. But that's the reality. Natalo tayo sa mga bansa katulad ng China, Iran, Jordan, Lebanon, whatever. Sometimes even South Korea, mga ganun. Dahil, let's be honest, it's really the physicality that sometimes, rather than sheer talent or even strategy, which is the dominant force. Again, I know maraming magalit sa akin. I'm sorry for saying that. Now, going to football, actually, natatawa ako dun sa mga kritisismo ng football. Don't worry, I'll go back to it. Natatawa lang ako sa mga criticism ng football na, yung football, pang mayaman yan, pang konyo yan. Well, I mean, aminado naman tayo ng mga konyo dyan sa BGC, etc. Naglalaro minsan ng football. Alam natin yan. But that's in the case of the Philippines. Punta ka sa mga favela, no, yung mga parang Tondo style areas ng Brazil, no, where in my opinion you have the best talents on earth. I mean, if you were to ask me who's the most talented player, not most accomplished player on earth today, I would say Neymar, as in no question about it. I mean, pick Neymar at his best, my goodness, incomparable. Not even Ronaldo. No offense to Messi. Now, Neymar ngayon, well, PSG, right? Medyo nagkakalat na siya, walang discipline. Pero ibang usapan, but just check yung mga moves ni Neymar, how he played like almost, you know what I'm saying? Like, flamenco with football. I mean, things that you see. And then look at arguably the best player of all time, Pele, right? So, favelas of Brazil, some of the poorest areas on earth, have created one of the greatest football talents. Which just tells you that total nonsense itong sinasabi na ang football ay pangmayaman lang. When in fact, nakikita natin, pagdating sa football, nananalo pa nga yung mga mas mahihirap na bansa. At yung mga best players often galing pa sa mga mahihirap na lugar. Sa whether rich countries or not so rich countries. No? So nakita natin, Argentina, isang developing country, tinalong France and many developed countries last year doon sa World Cup. Nakikita natin Brazil, especially the favela areas in big cities, Rio de Janeiro, whether it's in the big, that's where you get the big talents. That's where, and it's because pagdating sa football, you don't even need a court. I know that because I used to play on the streets, no? Hindi dito sa Manila, obviously, parang, but you know what I'm saying, like you just need two rocks, put it there, or maglagay ka ng chalk dito sa wall, ganun. Yan, that's it. Goal na yan. And then you just need one ball. That's it. In fact, doon sa mga ibang developing countries, mas mahihirap na bansa, kung hindi mo ma-afford yung talagang leather na legit na football na bola, pwede ka kumuha ng mga plastic types. Ginagawa yan all over the developing world. So yung idea ng football ay pangmayaman lang, it just doesn't make sense. Because the best talents often come from the poorest corners of earth. Just go to Brazil. And sa football na kita natin, poorer, less developed countries tend to do very, very well. Just look at the last year's World Cup. The only first world country that made it to the top four, really like first world is France. The other were Morocco, Croatia, well, medyo EU member ng Croatia, but still, I mean, Croatia is a country that came out of civil war, Yugoslavian breakdown, and then Argentina. So, kitang-kita natin na very equalizing etong football, and more importantly, di ba? More importantly, you don't need to be 6'9", 7'1", 6'5", 6'4", di ba? And ako, as someone who's, just under 6 foot tall, for me, mas nakaka-relate talaga ako sa football because the best players in football are, something like the height of Cristiano Ronaldo, 6'1", 6'2", or sometimes much more, medyo more compact like Lionel Messi, 5'6", 5'7", and best player on earth arguably today or ever, some would say. So, pag titignan mo talaga yung football, kailangan mo lang, pwede ka dyan sa kalye lang, pwede lang mag-chuck ka lang doon sa wall, maglagay ka lang ng 2 stone, pwede mo na laro yan, diba? At the same time, sana naman, may konting city planning, may konting effort, and then, alam ko rin yan kasi galing akong probinsya, diba? Exact, tama, Africa, isa pa yan. I keep on talking about Brazil, but titignan mo rin yung Africa, yung mga players na galing sa Senegal, sa Mali, players galing from Nigeria, players na galing from Ghana, napakagaling. And in fact, sa Africa, often hindi ninalo yung mga pinakamayaman na bansa. So in Africa, the richest countries are Botswana and South Africa, for instance, in terms of per capita income. But when was the last time nanalong South Africa sa African Championship? It's ang mga malalakas dyan, yung mga katulad ng Senegal, Ghana, Egypt sometimes, and of course now Morocco yung superpower ng football sa Africa and one of the best countries on earth. Again, we can talk about it. Morocco actually has a lower per capita income than the Philippines. Mas mahirap ang isang average Moroccan kaysa Filipino. So yes, we can talk about Africa. We can talk about Latin America. I can go on and on and on. Dito nga sa latest championship sa CONCACAF, no? Ito yung sa North America. Kaya sino yung mga nag-finals? Hindi America. Finals was Mexico yung nag-champion. Mexico, yeah, mi gente. And then, was it Panama or something like that? Diba? So, again, yung mga developing countries pa ngayon nagfa-finals yan, even when kalaban nila yung mga mayaman na bansa katulad ng US and Canada. So, there's just so much about football that is so equalizing. You don't need to be above 6 foot tall. If you're 6 foot, maybe it's good to be goalkeeper. I mean, one reason hindi ako all the way sa football is because I'm not tall enough to be goalkeeper. Siguro, good to be around 6'1", 6'2", no? But as a forward player, siguro center back lang, medyo kailangan matangkad rin like goalkeeper. Pero more or less the rest, 5'11", 6 foot, 5'8", 5'7", no problem. Even yung iba nga, si Maradona, ano may height ni Maradona? 5'5" or something like that. That's what I'm saying. This is perfect sat and this is perfect sat. And the best proof of what I'm saying is that when we invested in football, when we chose football as our number 1 national sport, actually, we did very, very well. Tinalo natin katulad ng Japan. Tinalo natin yung China. We were one of the best teams in the developing world outside the West. And katulad ng sinabi ko, we used to have one of the most talented squads and arguably the best player ever produced in Asia. Or best Asian player ever by far. I mean, no offense to sa mga players ng Korea and Iran right now, whether it's Taremi or yung players, what's his name again? Yung Korean players sa Tottenham, Spurs. Yeah. Like, no offense to these guys, no offense to the all-Asian greats, but what this guy achieved, oh my goodness. Paulino Alcantara, forget about it. It's not even close. No Asian player has come anywhere close to the achievements of Paulino Alcantara, no, with his roots in Visayas, Iloilo, if I'm not mistaken. And in fact, today, speaking of, again, yung equalizers, marami sa ating mga best locally, nurtured talents ay galing din sa mga probinsya, sa Mindanao, sa Visayas region. So, go to the Barcelona webpage. Now, if you don't believe me, go to the Barcelona webpage, type the name of Paulino Alcantara, and guess what? It will say that not only is he, no question, best Asian player ever, or Asian-born player ever. Of course, mestizo siya, Espanyol at Filipina, Visaya. But Filipino siya. I mean, so what kung may Spanish blood siya? I mean, this we're talking about Spanish who were in the Philippines. So, Filipino sila. But he actually had the record for the highest goals, until Messi broke it. So until Messi, actually the best player of Barcelona was a Pinoy. Or a mestizo Pinoy for that matter. Right? I mean, look at it. You go to the website, it says, Paulila Alcantara, Iloilo, Philippines, 1896. And then he stayed in Barcelona until 1964. Was the club's top goal scorer with 395 goals in 399 games. Almost 1 goal per game yung average na. It's incredible over such a long period of time before he was finally overtaken by Lionel Messi, right? His characteristic deceptive appearances made him popular with the fans to the point of being the first star of the club in the golden ages of the 1920s alongside Samitier, Zamora, Sagi, Piera, and many more. His ability to hit the most powerful of shots cross frontiers on the 30th April of 1922 when in a game between España and Francia, he hit a shot so hard that it ripped right through the net. Oh, wow. Parang ano yan, Subasa, Captain Subasa. So he played for the Philippines. He also played for Spain. Medyo flexible back in the day, diba? For many years, which is a topic I'll go back to because we have to talk about the current Philippine national squad. A lot of them with American backgrounds. For many years after, children from Barcelona would recall that moment and would wish to do the same as the man from the Philippines. The man from the Philippines, right? So I want to check. Meron bang YouTube copy? Meron bang YouTube? Parang Captain Subasa nag-rip through net. Yung shot niya, ganun kalakas yung paa niya. He hung up his boots on the 3rd of July of 1927 in order to become a doctor. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, so may pagka-Dr. Rizal pala, no? That day, he received a well-deserved tribute from the Barça fans at the Le Cortes grounds. However, this was not his goodbye to football. He was on the board of directors between 1931 and 1934, and Alcantara was one of the first footballers to write memoirs of his playing days. My goodness, we have to go back to this. As much as we have to go back to Rizal, we have to also go back to Paulino Alcantara. So his career, you know, his season's club was from 1912 to 1927. He had 395 goals out of 399 games. He won 5 Spanish championships in the seasons of 12 to 13, 19 to 20, 21 to 22, 24 to 25, and 25 to 26, 1925 to 26. And he won 10 Catalan championships. 10 Catalan championships, right? And when he played for the Philippines, we were easily among the best teams in Asia, if not in the world, right? So, a century ago, the Philippines was a soccer football powerhouse. Not only in Asia, but beyond, no? No match pa sa atin yung mga Japan, yung mga ganyan bansa back in the day, di ba? And today, Japan is one of the best teams in the world. I mean, I'm so proud of what Japan achieved dun sa last World Cup. I'm a big fan of Japan. Now, going back to the Philippines. So, right away, ito yung sinasabi ko. One of the things that makes us so, how should I put it? I mean, one of the advantages we have with our country is precisely that cosmopolitan, melting pot background that we have. So, of course, Paulino Alcantara was not pure Malay race. You know, yung mga ganyan mga ridiculous na argument. But he was as Filipino as you can get because being Filipino is not about your skin color. Is no offense kay Isko, hindi dapat moreno. No, essentially, you know, you don't have to be Malay race or moreno to be Filipino per se. You can be from Chinese background. You can be from Espanol background. You can be, you know, from mixed blood backgrounds. You can have very diverse backgrounds like yours truly, no? But you can be 100% Filipino because Filipino-ness is not a racial thing. Filipino-ness is so many other things. Being born in this country, being raised in this country, being raised by our culture, being devoted to our country, sacrificing for our country. Look at just a lot of our ilustrados. A lot of them had Espanol blood, Chinese blood, in the case of Rizal, for instance. So let's just get rid of that idea of, hindi puro Filipino, hindi ganyan. No. They are Filipino. In the case of Alcantara, he was raised in Iloilo. He played in Europe, but he was also playing for the Philippines. So what? That's just how we are in the Philippines. Now, which brings me to our victory today. I know, sorry if I didn't just focus on just the game per se, because for me, alam niyo naman, I'm always gonna dig deep. I'm gonna look 360. I'm gonna look at many angles. I'm gonna look at what's important for our country. I'm gonna look at the bigger picture, bigger implications, etc. That's how my approach. That's how I do movie reviews. Kung binasa niyo ang aking Oppenheimer critical review. That's how I do football analysis. And by the way, speaking of football, please check out my YouTube channel. Dyan po yung game natin. I played the Philippines sa FIFA 2023. I'm so glad. Ang galing ng Philippine team. To be honest, I'm not being biased. And I more enjoyed playing the Philippine national team and the Women's World Cup than playing the Males World Cup dun sa FIFA 2023. Medyo magaling tayo. I'm not gonna be false humility about it. Kayang-kaya natin. I can defeat the highest difficulty rate sa FIFA, yung legendary level na AI. Kaya natin yan. I can beat them. Pero mas na-enjoy ko when I played the Women's World Cup, and definitely when I played the Philippines. Of course, not to be cheeky, but I played Philippines versus China, and expectation was the Philippines will make it to the next rounds. I had Philippines versus China at quarterfinals. I don't know. Hopefully the Philippines will make it to quarterfinals. And it was a fantastic match. Sobrang fluid, sobrang fast yung players natin. And guess what? Dun sa game natin, sa literally the FIFA game that I played, one of the persons with whom I was able to score goals because napaka-talented, ang sarap maglaro ng FIFA when you're playing the Philippines especially, was the very person who was our star today, our hero today. Boom! So today we made history. First time lang natin sa World Cup, naka-goal agad, and we held on to our advantage and we won. We won against New Zealand, one of the best teams out there, but more importantly, the host country. Usually, even if hindi ganun kagaling yung host country like Russia sa World Cup 2019, no offense to them, or South Africa, etc. back in there, they tend to do very well. They tend to overperform when they're hosting. Alam natin yan, sa sports, home court advantage is real. There's really a statistical reality to that. And yet we beat them by really, really slim margin. They had 70% of possession, attack. They had 4 or 5 times more shots on goal against us, or at least attacks against us. So if you look at it, this is the beauty of football. You can win it defensively. You should be patient. You should persevere, and you should make the most out of the little openings and little opportunities that you have. You have to really do that. And for me, that's even way more realistic than basketball. Because in basketball, back, forth. In real life, you're not gonna get that back-forth advantages all the time, right? You're gonna get little windows of opportunity, and boom, once preparation meets opportunity, with audacity, boom, that's where you get the results. So, and that's the beauty of football for me. That's why it's the most beautiful game for me. It's realistic. It's almost lifelike. It's perfect for underdogs because I know yung sa psyche natin bilang Pinoy, medyo mahal na mahal natin itong underdog position, and we did it. So Sarina Bolden's name is gonna go down in history books. Wow talaga. Not only in the Philippines sports history books, in the World Cup history books, because she's the first person from a country that for the first time debuted at the World Cup and then nag-score. No, so I'm super proud of what I mean. She's among, of course, everyone at some point had to be the first, but she's among those elite players right now. And grabe. I mean, look at it. Hopefully wala naman sigurong to. Let me just show you the difficult angle from which she goaled, no. So hindi ko mapakita yung video because magkakaroon tayo ng copyright problem. Pero but let me show you just the angles from which, I mean, ang hirap. Like, if you were to freeze it, no, nagkaroon ng cross, pwede nyo panoyin for free, by the way, on I would have given it at best 40-50% chance to be a goal. And yet, she did it. I mean, she's not that super tall, no? Matangkad din yung mga players ng New Zealand, eh. But, wow, I mean, she converted it. And I'm just trying to bring out this one, just to show you how difficult that goal was. Medyo, Ronaldo level, eh. I mean, she didn't even jump that high. Ang ganda rin ng cross, pero grabe yung yung conversion, eh. Grabe yung conversion. I mean, the ability to convert that was incredible. Yun nga, eh. That's why more realistic ang football, kasi sometimes you just have 1 or 2 chance to convert to goal, at if you know how to make the most out of it, boom, that's it. You can change history, literally, no? And that's what happened here. But di ko malabas. Ito ba yan? Eh, tignan mo naman ang hirap po. So, you have three defensive players there. Three defensive players. Ang layo na yung mga ibang Philippine players. Three defensive players and the goalkeeper, and she beat them all. And look at the angle. She shot it exactly above the head of the goalkeeper. So napak ganon yung goalkeeper ng New Zealand. Ang galing. I was so impressed by that cross. I mean, talagang mi gente. I'm so proud of this. Now, I saw some comments here and there na sana more reliant tayo on local talent. Now, of course, you can make the pragmatic argument and say, well, if you want to establish the sports, you want to make it more mainstream, you want to achieve really something at the highest levels, go with the best talent you can put together, no matter where they were nurtured, as long as they're Filipino, in every sense of the word. Nevertheless, balikan din natin itong issue na to because a number of articles came out over the past week whereby, not necessarily critical, pero na-point out yung fact na very American talent heavy yung Philippine national team. So let's talk about this. Is that Baguio in the background? Of course. So let's look at this article. So this article, medyo controversial for me. So side by side, yung US uniform, US is of course double champion, defending champion, best thing on earth right now. A lot of that also has to do with government support, anti-discrimination legislations, and of course the infrastructure and the diversity pool of talent, including a lot of people from diverse background, including Latino background, of course, playing in the US, but not only them. No, so I don't know if this article was implying that we're like B team of US or something like that. I don't know, but so Mark Mangone would send the DMs after mundane days at his telecommunication job in Michigan. Sophia Harrison received her on Instagram 20 and found it a little sketchy. She was a freshman at Slippery Rock University in Pennsylvania. Manguna was a self-described, I hope I get the, hopefully tama, Manguna? Yeah. Random dude who spent idle time message boards until there's the Philippines Football Federation gave him a title. So so dito sa article na yan, makikita niyo yung opening lines, no? Whereby inexplain how the recruitment process came together and how the current Philippine national team came together. No, so very heavy, of course, yung presence ng US-raised talents. But if you look at these individuals, a lot of them, if not vast majority of them, were raised in Filipino households. Let me just. I'm just gonna look for my team. Okay. Ito. Of the 23 names on its Women's World Cup roster, 18 belong to US-born women. Okay, so that's pretty large. That's like 70+%. One of them, defender Hali Long, was born in Missouri and raised in a Filipino or Pinoy household. Olivia and Chandler McDaniel, a sister duo from California, joined Long and teammates from Washington, Ohio, Texas, Virginia, and Connecticut, and other states. Other US-born players include Kiara Fontanilla, Kaya Hota, Alicia Barker, Reina Bonta, Malaya Cesar, Jessica Cowart, Dominic Randall, Tahani Anis. Yan, Tahani Anis, ang galing niya dun sa FIFA, parang siyang Messi on the sides. Ang galing niya maglaro. Riley Bugay, Carly Frilles, Isabella Pasion, Katrina Gilo, Serena Bolden, Isabella Flanigan, and Quinley Quesada. I sorry, I hope I got some of the pronunciations right. Again, not that my family name is easy to pronounce. Pasensya na lang if ever. But you get it, yes. Pero ito po yung argument niya. So sabi naman ni Long, to be able to represent my heritage, just to have that opportunity to bring it back home for the people who brought me up is such an honor. No? Sabi naman niya, despite growing up in the US, quote, under our roof, it was purely Pinoy and I knew nothing different. No? And I'm sure this is the story for a lot of people who joined the Philippine national team with an American background in terms of where they grew up, in terms of where they got their training, etc. Because the US has arguably the best or one of the best facilities and infrastructure and cultures for women's football. Not necessarily for men's football yet, but for women's football. So, yeah, I mean, you can make that argument that, of course, sana mas marami from Philippines, etc. But there's enough mixture. There are also some really good Filipino players there who were raised in the Philippines, not in US or abroad, who were there. I get it. So there's enough mixture there. But my point is, sobrang tagal na kasi napabayaan etong football sa Pilipinas. Dahil nga dito sa, I don't know, yung ibang focus natin sa buhay, including yung basketball. I mean, I'm not against basketball per se. I'm just saying, sana naman, di ba? Focus naman tayo dyan sa may ibang sports kung saan talaga may pag-asa tayo to make it to the best teams on earth. Again, of course, my best wishes to the Philippines dito sa upcoming FIBA World Cup because we're one of the co-hosts. Yes, of course, 100%. But as I said, I just want to be realistic. If you want to really see the Philippines performing at the highest levels, look at football. Because sa football, even if medyo bata-bata pa, no, yung investments natin or reinvestments natin after long decades of neglect, some would say century of neglect, look at yung ROI mo. Ang taas ng return on investments mo. Kumpara mo naman dun sa basketball, yung level of investments, emotional, financial, logistical, political even, investments sa football, sa basketball, anything naman yung return sa atin. Even sa male basketball natin. I mean, I don't know how good is yung female basketball natin, but yung male basketball, supposedly our best shot at global competitiveness is one of the big 3 or big 5 sports. No offense. I mean, 'di ba? Nung Southeast Asian Games pa lang medyo alanganin na at some point, 'di ba? Ito, easy lamang top 4 best teams in Asia. No? Ang nakatalo lang sa atin, South Korea nung semifinals. Otherwise, finals na tayo. And who knows, may chance tayo mag-champion ng Asia dito. May chance pa tayo maging champion ng Asia sa basketball against Australia. By the way, Australia kasama na siya sa Asia. Against China, against Iran. China siguro pwede pa. Yung Australia-Iran, medyo malabo yan. Yung even South Korea. Tapos meron ka pang Jordan, meron ka pang Lebanon. And then Qatar, Kazakhstan. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, football is something we used to be great at. We produced one of the greatest talents out there before. Football, we are beginning to invest in it again. And look at the level of excitement. Look at the level of joy. Look at the level of, my goodness. I mean, nakaka-goosebumps. No? If you look at the videos that I shared from our good friend, the EU ambassador to the Philippines, kasi pinapanood nila yan. And isa pang tanong niya, please correct me if I'm wrong, parang hindi yata available yung mga games na yan dun sa free TV. Now, I heard, I mean, kung may cable ka, for instance, where I work, it's TV5, Signal News, One News, I mean, you can have it for free there. It's like you don't have to pay per view. Pero what I mean is like, parang naka-antena ka lang, pwede na lumabas. Kasi ganun yung sa ibang bansa eh. Punta ka sa Indonesia, for instance. Nasa Indonesia, I was in Jakarta during one of the games of World Cup last year while traveling around. And doon sa tabi-tabi lang, pinapanood ng tao for libre. Libreng-libre yung football, yung World Cup games. The same in Middle East, etc. You don't have to go pay-per-view, you don't have to go to cable, etc. And Indonesia is not even part of the World Cup. No offense. Philippines, part tayo ng World Cup. First time ever. And kailangan mo na may cable connection ka already. Sino naman may cable connection nowadays? I mean, compared to before. And, or punta ka sa mga Ayala Mall. Diba? I mean, in fairness sa Ayala Mall, in fairness naman sa kanila, they provided the infrastructure for that. God bless them. But yun nga eh, di sana, kung andun na yung infrastruktura, na everyone can watch it for free noon pa, hindi ngayon lang mag-pay tayo ng attention. Before the match pa, mas marami pang nag-pay ng attention, diba? Yun sanang, diba? Yun yung, so, I don't know. I mean, I just feel there's a huge asymmetry between the level of talent, the potential, and the actual achievements we have had in football, women's football especially, at the highest level, kumpara dun sa basketball and other sports whereby there's so much investments, there's so much prestige, there's so much whatever, and yet, kung tignan mo yung ROI mo, ASEAN pa lang, medyo hirap na tayo minsan. And I don't know. Tapos nakita ko kanina, yung isang American NBA player na naturalized na siya ng China. So maging malakas ang China sa FIBA World Cup na ito eh. So yung mga katapat natin na Asian team pa lang, di ba? Maging malalakas na may mga NBA players na sila. So tayo, may NBA player pa ba tayo? I mean, that's another question. After all these decades of playing basketball, nakailan players na tayo sa NBA? Well, we had Paulino Alcantara back in the day, fresh pa lang, naka-Barca na siya, diba? And you can imagine, there could have been many Paulino Alcantaras throughout the years of Filipinos playing Europe. Maybe not in Barca, maybe not at the level of Paulino Alcantara, but imagine if Paulino Alcantara was given the kind of resources and support to build the next generation of great Filipino football players. We could have conceivably have had very much like Korea, like Japan, like Iran, players at the in the best clubs of Europe, whether in Germany, whether in Bundesliga, whether in La Liga, whether in Serie A or Premier League, diba? We could have easily have that. So I know it's a counterfactual. I know a lot of people will not be happy with what I'm saying. Pero tama ako eh. Yun eh. So, kaya kahit anong bashing ang nangyari sa atin minsan, I mean, tao lang naman ako. Of course, we're not always right. But a lot of times napansin ko, binabash-bash tayo, etc. And then, tama rin eh. Yung sabi ko na maging palpak yung mga policies ni tatay sa ganyan, hindi naman talaga nangyari. Yung sinabi ko na maging ganyan si BBM, hindi naman maging ganon, ganyan din naman nangyari. Sa football, last year ko pa sinasabi, ang taas ang ROI natin kung sa football tayo. Ayan, yan naman talaga nangyari. So, I don't know, go ahead, bash me, but I know who's right. I can see it. So, no offense, but you see, I just have to be realistic. I mean, because we look at the big picture, and as I said, balikan ko ulit yung article natin. Again, you want to see the full picture, analysis, you want to see where I'm coming from. Kasi hindi ito first time eh. Punta ka sa Reddit. Apparently, the most commented post about me, last time nakita ng iba, is yung sinabi ko, it's time for us to embrace football. So that's interesting because of everything na said about me on Reddit, no? All the bashers and may mga fake ex-student pa yata dyan na kunyari ex-student ko, ay ibang klase. Obvious kung hindi mo estudyante or baka ito yung mga hindi magandang grado. Hindi, may mga mabait naman na ano. No, I mean, ito yung nag-top dun sa Reddit. Ang daming comments, hundreds, thousand na ba yung comment? And I think it's because many see the point of this. And then may mga epal pa nagsabi na nakikirelevant tayo. Like, get out of here! I know about football. I've been following this throughout my life, okay? Mid-30s na tayo. So, medyo lampas sa 20 years siguro. Pina-follow ko ito ng seriously, diba? I play FIFA at the highest level, potentially, right? Di ako nag-iabang, at least versus legendary level AI. So, medyo alam ko siguro basic strategy, basic, what's happening. And, we follow what's happening all around the world. So, dun sa article natin, wait, tanggalin ko nga, baka mga mababash tayo. I discussed the case of Morocco. Right? A country that actually is not a wealthy country, even lower per capita income than the Philippines, but with strategic investments in their youth clubs, in their women. Yung women's team ng Morocco, napakalakas din. African champion. And also by bringing in foreign-raised Moroccan talent, whether from Netherlands, from France, etc., and España, they were able to put together a fantastic, inspiring team, no? So for me, Morocco is the role model for us in general. I think it shows that a developing country can do well. But for me, even our role model should be the Philippines itself, 100 years ago. And if not only for American colonialism and American influence, etc., I don't think we would have been so hung up on basketball. Because if you look at our neighbors, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc., football ang number one sa kanila lahat. All our neighbors, football ang number one. Almost, or baseball and football siguro in places like Japan. But tayo lang basketball, and like, okay, I appreciate it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with basketball, but come on, guys, come on. Talagang, eto talaga football of the big five sports of cricket, volleyball, basketball, football, and American football. If you can look at of five big sports, team big sports, feeling ko sa football talaga, taas talaga ng potential ng Philippines. But then again, for now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have one more match versus Norway. If we draw that, and then sa kabila, the result is not so good. So let's say Switzerland also wins. Ano ba yung result ng Switzerland versus Norway? Right? I mean, let's just hope Switzerland wins also the other games, beats both New Zealand or Norway or something like that. And then even if we draw lang with Norway, we get 1 point out of that. By the way, may draw rin sa football. Hindi katulad ng basketball, there's just gonna be one winner. Hindi siya zero-sum. You can just draw and you can still make it to the next level. So if we draw the next game, let's say even 0-0 with Norway, there's a chance we make it to the next level. And that would be the amazing story because first time in World Cup, nakapunta na kaagad sa playoffs, which is a big, big deal. And the rest could be double history. So let me just say this again. I'm so proud of our Filipina uh, courageous women. I mean, always when you have pains and frustrations about country, mga kababayan talaga natin, panalo. No offense sa mga ano, but let's be honest, I mean, we have amazing women. And once again, they have made us proud. I'm so happy about this result. I hope to see more Filipinos gathering not only in malls, but at home, in stadiums, in streets, cheering our team. And may this be the beginning, God willing, no, inshallah, of a new era of success for Filipino football. Not only our women's football, but Filipino football in general. Because the Ascals, they had good potential. Pero push pa. Because the male football world is ibang level din kasi yan eh. But this is good. This is a great start. And we're seeing also more and more equalization between female football or women's football and male football, with more advertising money, with more investment, with more equal pay push. So I'm glad we're moving into a new era in the best way possible. And yes, katulad sabi ni Pinoy back in the day, ang sarap maging Pinoy sa panahon nito. Huwag niyo nang tanungin yung yung Sona yesterday. Joke lang. Mahaba yung mga sinabi natin. Ang dami ko nang sinabi na I'm losing voice. But I'll keep it there. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Please huwag kayong magalit sa akin. Alam ko marami sa inyo ay football fans. Oh, by the way, question. Alam niyo ba saan makakuha ng yung uniform ng Philippine football team? Nakita ko may Adidas sila na purple eh. Oh, or check it out for yourself. Let's show support. May nakita ko meta color na meron sila na Adidas. Pero yun lang, for size natin mga lalaki, pwede pa sa atin. Just to show support, no? Sa Philippine team. I'll be more than happy. Kasi yung football na bola ko, Philippines yan eh. National football team yan. So I'm very happy of that. But let's see. Let's check it out. Yun nga, I'll check natin sa mga Adidas natin or Shopee. Check natin sa Nike or what. Adidas yata if I'm not mistaken. Yeah? Let's check it out. Thank you very much again sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta sa atin. I really appreciate it. Wala naman nag-comment. Wala pala nag-appreciate dito sa space. Dito na lang tayo sa kabila. Wala naman pala nagmamahal sa atin dyan. Jom Cueto, thank you very much. Cecilia Francesco, Emer Oirasor, Gloria Grace, thank you very much for your comments. Thank you rin kay Noemi Tablare, Annabel Gamoras, and the usual suspects. Yan, kay JC Sorenses, Ma'am Jocelyn Lumberio, of course, as always, thank you so much. Katrina Montemayor, yan, sa mga marami nagmamahal sa atin. I really appreciate it. Maraming salamat dito rin sa mga ka-YouTubers natin. Theo Bonil, Mavs Fan Forever, yan, mga basketball player dyan. Oh, by the way, of course, let me just end on this note. I'm also wishing the best for Kai. I'm so proud of Kai. He keeps on pushing it. I know it's very difficult to get into NBA, but let's hope he'll be our first guy at the very least, no? And hopefully that will be the beginning. Tangkad niya, I don't think 7'3", 7'2 yata siya, no? I mean, tangkad pa rin. Never mind, whatever. Best wishes for the Philippines basketball in the coming weeks, and best wishes for the Philippines football in the coming days, no? Nakaka-excite. O yan, maghanap na tayo dyan ng uniform natin para cheer natin for the next match, and God willing, hopefully even with the draw, we can make it to the next level. So thank you very much again, and talk to you soon. God bless.